Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing how Sunderland are living in dreamland. But before that, as always, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way in helping me build a small community on my channel, okay? We've recently just hit 243 subscribers and if we can go and get 250, I'll be absolutely over the moon. And yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our recent videos as well. So yeah, let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Sunderland beat Chelsea 2-1 at the weekend on Saturday, and for me, what an absolute amazing victory for Sunderland's season, okay? They're currently sitting second in the Premier League. Would you have thought that at the start of the season? Because I wouldn't, okay? For me, when you think about this game against Chelsea especially, yes, they did go 1-0 down through a Garnacho counter-attack, sort of running into the box and then just shooting a crossbody. It was a little bit unfortunate because it did go under Robin Roof's sort of legs and whatnot. So from that point of view, the goalkeeper probably could have done a little bit better from that standpoint, the Dutch goalkeeper. And for me, even though Chelsea probably were the better side in the first half, all things considering, even though, don't get me wrong, Sunderland did sort of have a few good chances, especially that one at the start of the game with Daniel Bollard, okay, where a nice little cross into the box. Daniel Bollard was so open in the box, but his header just went straight into the Robert Sanchez's hands, didn't it? So for me, the centre-back, Daniel Bollard, probably could have done a little better from that point of view because he probably could have gone on and scored the first goal of the game. However, Chelsea did that. So from that point of view, in the first half, I did feel like Chelsea probably were the better side, like I've just mentioned, just because I feel like they did control more of the ball. They did get a few more chances, probably created the more clear-cut chances. However, Sunderland did do so well to sort of hold in there and not concede a second, because if they conceded a second right, it probably would have been all over for them, because at the moment, with their defence, sometimes they can be a little bit shaky. However, in this game, Wilson Isidore did score the equaliser in the 40th minute, okay? It was a lovely corner that sort of troubled the Chelsea defence. It was a bit of a scramble in the box between some of the Chelsea defenders and the Sunderland attackers, of course. And it was Wilson Isidore who got the lethal touch on the ball to sort of put it past Robert Sanchez in goal. And for me, it was a nice little good goal to sort of get back into the game, because it sort of spurred Sunderland on in the second half and gave them the momentum to sort of go on and potentially hold on and win the game. Think about some of the star men in this game for Sunderland. It was Wilson Isidore, it was Granit Xhaka, it was Sadiq, it was all the centre-backs as well. It was Daniel Bollard, it was Gudrud, it was Robert Roofs as well. All of these players, right, for Sunderland this season have been absolutely exceptional. For me, you would have put Sunderland in the relegation battle, wouldn't you? That's what everybody was expecting them to have. And, a lot of people were predicting them to, struggle this season, but that is further from the truth, okay? They're currently second in the league. They've played 9 games, won 5, drew 2 and lost 2, sitting on 17 points, okay, Sunderland. One absolute dream start for them. They could not have expected anything better to happen. Don't get me wrong, right? I told a lot of people to watch out for Sunderland at the start of the season. I'm just saying, am I predicting the future? Maybe I am. Maybe I am the master. Maybe I know the ball. Maybe I don't know the ball. I don't know, okay? I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just waffling at this point. However, I was slightly right about Sunderland. That's all I'm saying. And don't get me wrong, there are a few people that sort of looked at the transfers they made and thought to themselves, they're going to be absolutely fine, and I feel like those fans can sort of pat yourself on the back if you like, because I feel like it was a bit of a 50-50 whether some were going to be good or not, because we've seen cases where a lot of teams have brought in multiple players, like 10 plus players, into their new side, and they've sort of struggled and they've been in a relegation battle. However, it's gone a completely different way for Sunderland, so I'm just so happy for them and their fans as well. Okay, if we quickly talk about Sunderland's late winner from Chemsdine Talbi, okay, for me this was the best goal of the game, and for me, this guy, I told you at the start of the season, this guy was going to be your ones to watch player for the season, and he's finally come good. He's finally scored his first goal, and what an absolute dramatic way to get your first goal of the season for Sunderland, okay, for the Black Cats. Get a late winner, taking all 3 points against Chelsea, one of the amazing sides in the Premier League, one of the top 6 sides in the Premier League. Chelsea are a hard place to go to with all the players they've got, with all of the squad depth, with all the world-class players they've got in their team. They're a hard place to go to in London, aren't they? So to walk away from London with all 3 points, Sunderland and the Sunderland fans will be absolutely buzzing, aren't they? For me, this guy is exciting. Don't get me wrong, he's had a few games where he's sort of looked off the pace. He's had a few games where You know, he's done some decent stuff as well in terms of dribbling, sort of having a few decent shots, but he just hasn't managed to get that goal over the line. And in this game against Chelsea, he's finally done that. So I'm really happy for him, and hopefully this can kickstart his season, and hopefully he can become that ones-to-watch player that I sort of, you know, touted at the start of the season. Because I did say Chemsdine Talbi, coming from Club Bruges in the Belgium League, you know, he was looking so exciting for them in the Champions League against Aston Villa and whatnot last season. And for me, I do really like the player, and I reckon he's going to just light it up now in the Premier League for Sunderland. And if we end the video talking about Chelsea, okay, losing to another team where they probably should have expected to win at least. I know Sunderland are having an amazing run at the moment, but they probably should beat them overall if you think about the players they've got compared to Sunderland. So from that point of view, it was so disappointing, because the best player on the pitch for me was probably Garnacho, because he had a few chances where he probably could have, you know, scored a second and third goal. There was a chance he had right after he scored his first goal, okay, where I think a cross came into the box. It was sort of far post, okay, and his shot sort of just hit into the chest of Robin Roofs. So, you know, he probably should have done a little better with that chance as well, because he probably could have scored a second, and the game would have been completely different from a Chelsea perspective. So for me, it was a bit of a disappointing one. And the other players as well that was half decent probably was Enzo Fernandez, Pedro Neto, and the centre back Akmumpong as well. Hopefully I said his name right, but yeah, probably haven't, so I do apologise again, just in advance. So for me, you know, there are positives and negatives to take from this game for Chelsea. Again, I think overall their attacking players are all right. They're scoring a few goals here and there. It's just their defence. Their defence is so vulnerable right now. It chops and changes every game, doesn't it, in terms of performance? Not players on the pitch, because they have a few injuries and whatnot. So from that point of view, for their performance wise, you know, you don't know what you're going to get from Chelsea. It's a bit similar to Manchester United. One week they're going to be really good, they're going to be exceptional at the back, they're going to be strong and resolute at the back, and they're going to keep a clean sheet. The next week they're going to concede like 1 or 2 goals and potentially draw or lose the game. So they're so hard to predict Chelsea at the moment. I just don't know where they're going to finish at the end of the season. Now, I did put out a video with Liverpool last week, okay, saying like, is the title race over? And some people were saying, you know, it's not going to be over just yet because they've only played 8 games, and I do get that, but I'm just trying to look ahead to the future, okay? And when I look at the end of the season for Chelsea now, are they going to finish in top 4? I'm not too sure, just because, right, I don't know what to think about this Chelsea team. For me, like I've said it all season, they're a goalkeeper and a centre back short of, you know, potentially definitely winning the title and potentially getting into top 4 as well, because there's some teams at the moment in Sunderland, in Bournemouth, in Crystal Palace, in Newcastle, in all these like similar teams, right, that are having an exceptional time of it lately, and potentially could compete for a top 4 spot in the Premier League this season alongside Chelsea. So we'll just have to wait and see if they can sort of get their defensive act together. Hopefully they can, because their attacking talent is, you know, second to none. They've got so many players that they can bring on. They've got so many players that they can start in that team for Chelsea. It's just whether or not their defence can sort of help them out overall to get like those positive results on board. So yeah, let's end the video with some questions, okay? Do you feel like Sunderland are living in dreamland? Can they keep this form up for the rest of the season? Are they overachieving in the league at the moment, Sunderland, or are they gonna be able to keep it up if you like? And who's been their star player this season? Has it been Wilson Isidore up front for them, scoring them countless of goals? Has it been Granit Xhaka sort of keeping it ticking in midfield? Has it been one of the defenders in Dan Bollard? Has it been the goalkeeper Robin Roofs? Have Sunderland sort of done a little bit better than you expected at the start of the season? Because a lot of people predicting them to get be in a relegation battle at least, anyways. And yeah, moving on to Chelsea now. Why are Chelsea so inconsistent in the Premier League this season? Do they need more defensive options in January transfer window? Do they need another goalkeeper in there? How would you feel about Robert Sanchez in goal? Did you feel like Garnacho was the best of a bad bunch in this game for Chelsea? What do Chelsea need to improve on going into the next game next week, okay? And yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes a long way in having me build a small community on my channel, okay? We've recently just hit 243 subscribers, and if we can go and get 250, I feel like I say this at the end of every video now, but if we can go and do that, I'll be absolutely buzzing. I don't know why my hair is sticking up, as that sticked up the whole video. Oh my god. Okay, I need to go sort that out. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.